My granddaughter called me at 4:17 in the morning and whispered, "Mama, whatever you do, don't wear your yellow rain jacket tomorrow." I was already awake. At 71, sleep is a visitor that knocks once, then leaves if you don't open the door fast enough. I was sitting in Elijah's old recliner, the one with the duct tape arms, listening to the tin roof pop as the night cooled and the crickets gave up one by one. The phone lit the dark like a match. "Delphine?" I said. My voice sounded like gravel. "Mama, just listen. Promise me, no yellow jacket." Her words shook worse than the January wind against the windows. "Baby, why?" "You'll know soon enough. I love you." Click. Gone. I stared at that phone a long time. Then I looked across the living room at the hook by the door where the bright yellow rain jacket hung, the one I'd worn every market Saturday for 6 years because it showed up good against the gray sky and the semis on Highway 27. I bought it the week Elijah died, told myself the color would keep me from disappearing. I didn't sleep after that. I just rocked and listened to the house breathe. By 8:30, I was walking the half-mile red dirt road to the highway pull-off where the county van picks up folks headed to the Walmart or the free clinic in Chattanooga. Tuesdays are my day. Prescriptions, little grocery money, maybe a coffee at the McDonald's if the driver's feeling pined. I left the yellow jacket on the hook and pulled on the old olive green barn coat Elijah wore when he fixed fences. Smelled like him still. Diesel and coffee and wintergreen chew. The van never came. Instead, I saw the lights first, red and blue strobing off the pine trunks, then the yellow tape, then the sheriff's cruisers nose to tail like dogs at a bone. I stopped 20 yards short. My knees knew before my head did. A deputy I recognized, Ronnie Tuttle, used to mow our yard when he was 14, walked toward me slow, hat in his hands. "Miss Loretta, you don't need to see this." "Ronnie, I'm 71, not blind. What happened?" He swallowed hard. "Woman got hit just before dawn, walk in the shoulder. Driver claims he never saw her till too late. Thing is, she was wearing a yellow rain jacket, bright as the sun. Looked just like yours from a distance." The world tilted. I felt Ronnie grab my elbow, or I would have sat down right there in the red mud. They had the body under a tarp by the ditch. One corner lifted in the wind, and I saw the sleeve, bright, screaming yellow. My jacket had a tear under the left arm, where I'd caught it on barbed wire 2 springs ago. That sleeve had the same tear. Ronnie guided me to his cruiser and sat me in the front like I was company instead of evidence. "Your granddaughter called you this morning," he asked, voice low. 4:17 on the dot, I said. "Told me not to wear the yellow." He wrote it down. Then he looked at me with the same eyes he had at 14 when he thought he'd killed my rose bush with the weed eater. "Ms. Loretta, the dead woman had your address in her pocket and a set of house keys that fit your front door." I closed my eyes and felt the county spin. The woman's name was Carla Jean Pruitt, 42, worked for the Hamilton County Property Assessor's Office. Found in her pocket a quitclaim deed transferring my farm, 83 acres, the house my granddaddy built in 1938, everything, to my daughter-in-law, Shelby Lynn Caldwell. Dated 3 weeks ago, my signature at the bottom, notarized, clean as Sunday school. I never signed a thing. Shelby Lynn is married to my only child, Travis. They live in a brick ranch house off Signal Mountain with a 3-car garage and opinions about how I ought to downsize. Every Sunday after church, Shelby brings Tupperware smiles and talks about options, assisted living villas with garden tubs, gated communities where someone else moves. She spreads brochures across my table like a dealer laying out cards. Travis just nods, eyes on his phone, letting her run the game. I remembered the last time she had me sign something. Just medical releases, Mama Loretta, in case anything happens. I'd been tired from the drive back from the cardiologist. My glasses were in the truck. She slid the pen into my hand. It's all filled out, just your name right here. I signed 3 pages. Trusted family.
Family. Ronnie drove me to the sheriff's substation on Amnicola Highway. Same peeling paint I remembered from when Travis got caught joyriding in '98. They put me in a room with a humming vending machine and a one-way mirror that didn't fool anybody. Detective Angela Mercado came in. Sharp suit, sharper eyes, hair pulled back so tight it looked painful. She set a recorder between us. From the beginning, Mrs. Caldwell. I told her about the 417 call, the jacket, the deed, about Shelby's brochures and Travis's silence, about how my land sits on what developers now call the last undeveloped ridge with Chattanooga skyline views. She listened without blinking. When I finished, she said, "Your granddaughter Delphine is currently unreachable. Phone off since 6 a.m. Her apartment manager says she never came home last night." Ice slid down my spine. They kept me 4 hours. Ronnie finally showed up with a lawyer neither one of us could afford, smelling like new leather and panic. The lawyer, Boyd Shipley, did all the talking. Said I was confused, grieving my husband, maybe early dementia. Suggested the stress had me seeing threats where none existed. Travis stood behind him, nodding like a bobblehead. I looked my own son in the eye and asked him, "Did you know about the deed, Travis?" He opened his mouth, closed it, looked at the floor. That was answer enough. They let me go at dusk with orders to sit tight. The deputy followed me home, parked at the end of my driveway like a watchdog that didn't know whose side it was on. The house felt hollow. I heated leftover beans, couldn't eat. At 11:03, my phone buzzed on the table. Unknown number. Text, "Mama, meet me at the old quarry on Suck Creek Mountain, midnight. Come along. Bring the spare key under the blue flower pot if you ever want to see me alive again." Below the message, "Remember the lightning bug night." Lightning bug night. Delphine was 9. Power out for 3 days after a storm. We caught a whole mason jar full, sat on the tailgate of Elijah's Ford, let 'em go one by one and made wishes. That was our code. Real Delphine, real danger. I didn't call the sheriff. I'd already learned who some of them worked for. At 11:27, I put on Elijah's barn coat again, took the 38 he kept in the biscuit tin and drove the back roads I'd known since I could steer a tractor. Halfway up the mountain, a set of headlights settled behind me. Not too close, not too far. I killed my lights, took a logging spur I'd helped Elijah cut 40 years ago, and lost him in the dark. The quarries posted no trespassing, but nobody ever listens. Moonlit water filled the bottom like black glass. Gravel crunched under the boots. I smelled wet stone and somebody's marijuana. "Delphine?" I called soft. A shadow moved near the equipment shed. My granddaughter stepped out, thin, eyes swollen, a bruise blooming on her cheek. She ran to me and I caught her like I used to when she was little. "Mama, I'm sorry. I didn't know it would—" "Shh now. Start at the beginning." She talked fast, words tumbling. 3 months ago, she met Carla Jean on the coffee shop on Broad Street. Carla was kind, funny, asked about the farm, said her own grandparents lost land to shady deals, offered to help Delphine make sure I was protected, asked for copies of tax records, the will, anything with my signature. Delphine thought she was helping. Then she saw Carla having lunch with Shelby at the country club. 2 hours, serious faces. When Delphine asked, she laughed, said Shelby paid better than kindness ever did, that Delphine had been useful.
Carla got greedy, started demanding more money or she'd tell me everything.
Last night, Shelby's people grabbed Delphine after her shift at the hospital, held her in the basement on Manufacturers Road, made her call me at 4:17 so I wouldn't wear the jacket. Carla was already dead by then, hit and run staged to look like she was me. They needed me scared, confused, maybe hurt bad enough to sign whatever they put in front of me while I was doped up in the hospital. Delphine had the proof on a thumb drive Carla mailed her 2 days ago in case I grow a conscience. Bank records, emails, recordings of Shelby saying things like, accidents happen to old folks all the time, and the ridge is worth $30 million subdivided. She pressed the drive into my hand. It's password protected. Lightning Bug 09. I tried to get away sooner, I swear. Headlights swept the quarry rim. 3 vehicles. Doors slammed. A voice I knew too well rang out. Loretta Cardwell, this is private property. Step away from the girl. Shelby stood under the flood of headlights in a white puffer coat, hair perfect, even at midnight. Beside her, Boyd Shipley. Behind them, 2 men built like refrigerator boxes, and, Lord help me, Deputy Ronnie Tuttle in uniform, looking ashamed but holding his gun anyway. Shelby smiled the same smile she used at church potlucks. Mama Loretta, you're confused. Delphine's been unstable. We're here to take her for help, and you need rest. Delphine pressed against me. I felt her shaking. I slipped my phone out of my coat pocket slow, thumbed the screen. I'd started recording the second their lights hit us. Cloud back up running. I turned the screen so they could see the red dot. Everything you say from here on is live streaming to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation tip line and 3 newsrooms. I lied smooth as butter. Plus my lawyer in Nashville. Y'all might want to smile pretty. Ronnie's gun wavered. The 2 big men looked at Shelby. Shelby's mask slipped. You dried up old... Sirens cut her off. Real ones this time, coming fast up the mountain. Detective Mercado's voice boomed over a bullhorn. Sheriff's office, everyone freeze. Turns out I had called someone. Detective Mercado never trusted Shipley from the start. She put a tracker on my phone after the interview, for my safety. When the quarry pinged, she wrote every unit she had. They took Shelby screaming about her rights, took Shipley muttering about lawsuits, took poor Ronnie, who started crying when they cuffed him and said his mama would never forgive him. Delphine rode home with me at dawn. We didn't talk much, just watched the sun come up pink over the ridge that was still mine. But that was only round 1. 2 days later, Shelby made bail. Somebody with deep pockets posted it. The forged deed was still on file. The competency hearing was scheduled for Friday, and somebody started digging into whether an old woman who wanders at night ought to keep custody of an impressionable teenager. Shelby played victim like a violin solo in church, said Delphine was trouble, that I turned her against her own mother, hired experts to say my grief had unhinged me. I played the only card I had left, the truth, loud and often. Delphine and I went to the local news first, then Nashville, then Atlanta. We sat in folding chairs under hot lights and told our story plain. About the yellow jacket, the staged accident, the ridge worth $30 million. About how many old folks in 3 counties had accidentally died after signing papers they didn't understand. The thumb drive opened like a damn brickin'. 11 names, 11 elderly sellers, 7 dead within a year. Falls, overdoses, house fires. 1 tractor rollover everybody called tragic, but nobody investigated too hard. All the land now owned by shell companies tracing back to a Chattanooga firm where Boyd Shipley was a silent partner and Shelby sat on the board. The story went national, hashtags and all. Shelby's people tried every trick. More forgery surfaced, new powers of attorney, a fake dementia diagnosis from a doctor who lost his license in Alabama. They sued me for defamation, petitioned to have Delphine removed for her safety. Didn't matter. Once the light hits cockroaches, they scatter. FBI took the case. Rage started before the strawberries bloomed. Shelby's arrest photo, orange jumpsuit, no makeup, was on every channel. Shipley flipped first, then the doctor, then a county commissioner who thought he was untouchable. The deeds were voided. My land came back clean. The families of the dead got settlements. Small comfort, but something. Delphine moved in permanent. Started pre-law at UTC, determined to keep other grandmothers from burying husbands and then fighting daughters-in-law with manicures. Some nights I still sit in Elijah's chair and listen to the tin roof pop. The yellow jacket hangs in the back of the closet now. I never wore it again. Too many ghosts in the stitching. People ask if I'm scared of payback. I tell them the truth. I'm 71 years old. I've outlived most of my enemies already, and the one still breathing no better than to come up my driveway uninvited. There's a new sign at the cattle guard. No trespassing. Survivors live here. And every June, when the lightning bugs come out, Delphine and I sit on the tailgate with a mason jar. We don't catch them anymore. We just watch them rise like tiny lanterns over the ridge that nobody will ever take from us again. That's enough happy ending for me.
Like, share, and subscribe, please.